Welcome to this deep dive into today's construction market intelligence. And when you look at the market right now, it honestly feels like we're operating in two completely different realities at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. It's a total split screen.
Right. I mean, zooming out, you see the sheer volume of capital flowing into the sector. It's an unprecedented revenue boom. But then if you zoom in on the actual job sites, we're basically on a collision course with a massive regulatory landmine and these, well, hyperlocal labor shortages.
Yeah, the operational friction is just brutal right now.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack these massive industry shifts. We're looking at everything from the new Department of Labor joint employer rule that's dropping on the industry, all the way to a multi-billion-dollar data center surge happening down in Latin America.
Which is huge, by the way.
It's massive. And we just want to make sure you have the exact context you need to scale your business smartly without, stepping into a compliance trap that completely wipes out your margins.
Because the paradox here is fascinating. The sheer horsepower of the capital available is extraordinary, but actually capturing that revenue, the friction there has literally never been higher.
Yeah, you can't just look at the top line growth and assume smooth sailing.
Right. You cannot assume that global money just automatically trickles down to your local job sites without some serious bottlenecks.
Let's actually unpack that top-line revenue boom first, because we need to understand where this money is coming from. And it's being driven almost entirely by the tech sector right now.
Completely tech-driven.
Yeah. So the ENR 2026 top 500 design firms ranking just officially dropped. And collectively, these firms are reporting over $62 billion in design revenue.
$62 billion, just let that sink in.
It's staggering. And the foundation holding up that number is the AI workload. Colossal data centers, sprawling AI campuses, the advanced manufacturing plants.
When you break down those ENR numbers, you really see a foundational shift. Top-tier mega firms, companies like AECOM, Jacobs, HDR, Stantec, WSP, and Arcadis, they're all seeing double-digit backlog growth.
Wow, double digits.
Yeah, and this isn't some temporary post-pandemic bump. Like architects who have built portfolios geared toward AI campuses, they're enjoying massive revenue lifts, anywhere from 22 to 35%.
Wait, 35% revenue lift just from AI campuses?
Just from that specific sector. Because designing an AI campus is not like designing a standard commercial office block.
Right. I'd imagine the cooling systems alone are a nightmare.
Exactly. Incredibly complex structural engineering for the server rack weight, plus massive specialized cooling and power routing. Firms that speak that specific design language are taking a huge slice of that $62 billion.
It's literally the 1849 gold rush playing out in real time.
I love that analogy.
Well, history always points out that the real fortunes weren't made by the prospectors panning for gold. The actual wealth was captured by the merchants selling the shovels.
Selling the pickaxes, yeah.
Right. So in 2026, tech giants are the prospectors hunting for AI dominance and construction. We're selling the shovels. We pour the concrete for the data centers that house the AI.
We build the infrastructure.
Exactly. But I have to push back here. Is this double-digit growth actually accessible to mid-sized firms? Because honestly, it looks like a walled garden.
How do you mean?
Well, if I'm a regional contractor, a $62 billion collective revenue number for the 50 biggest mega firms in the world, that doesn't mean anything to my bottom line.
That's a fair point. But that perceived disconnect is exactly why we need to look at how the project pipeline mechanically works. AI campus and data centers make up 24% of the total backlog for those top 50 firms.
Almost a quarter of their future work.
Right. But like AECOM and Jacobs don't execute the physical build on their own. They design, they manage the prime contracts. That massive backlog inevitably trickles down.
Because they just can't mobilize enough of their own guys.
Exactly. A megafirm cannot mobilize enough in-house labor to lay every yard of concrete on a billion-dollar campus. It creates a tidal wave of subcontracting opportunities, globally too.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking of global, this demand isn't just sitting in Silicon Valley anymore. The Latin America data center market is projected to exceed $6.93 billion by 2031.
Yeah, the geographic expansion heading south is wild.
It's fueled heavily by a $500 million Google Digital Port investment. And the countries really leading this charge are Mexico, Brazil, Chile, and Colombia.
And the sheer scale of the concrete steel and electrical work down there is going to demand international partnerships.
So U.S. and Canadian firms can jump in.
Absolutely. Mid-sized firms with data center expertise are perfectly positioned to partner with local prime contractors in those regions. And, this isn't just a 10-year projection.
Sure.
No, actually, according to Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report, there are currently 14 active Latin America data center construction procurements that firms can register for right now.
Wow. So the bidding is actively happening today.
Literally right now.
But, okay, you can win a multi-billion-dollar bid in Latin America or an advanced manufacturing contract here in the U.S. That's just paper money if you can't get the excavators and the manpower to the dirt.
Oh, entirely. The physical execution is the bottleneck.
Right. So let's talk about those execution bottlenecks, machinery and manpower. Because right now, the supply chain for both feels like it's breaking down.
The physical reality of construction is asserting itself pretty violently right now. Let's look at the machinery side first. Volvo Construction Equipment just published their Q1 financial results.
And why should a local contractor care about Volvo's corporate financials?
Because it's a crucial leading indicator for your own H2 2026 equipment buying cycles. You need to look at their order book direction. If Volvo's backlog for articulated haulers is stretching to 8 months.
And you wait until you win a bid to order one.
Exactly. You're forced to rent at a massive premium, which just bleeds your margin. You also have to watch their electric equipment shipments versus their hybrid mix.
Because of the emissions rules.
Right. If you see a massive shift toward electric mini excavators, that signals municipal emissions mandates are tightening. You have to adjust your fleet before you get locked out of urban bids.
Makes sense. You can't build a green AI campus with a diesel excavator from 2010.
Not if the client has strict carbon offset requirements.
But heavy equipment is only half the equation. The other half is the labor pool. And the workforce is severely strained right now. We're seeing a national decline in the immigrant workforce combined with hyper-local project concentration.
And that hyper-local concentration is where a national shortage becomes a lethal threat to local profit margins.
Yeah, like Eastern Iowa is the perfect case study right now. There is an absolute boom there. Data centers, advanced manufacturing, massive agricultural processing plants, and it's completely overwhelming regional crews.
It drains the local pool instantly.
Right. A subcontractor is pouring a foundation, and across town, a plant falls behind schedule and offers an extra $5 an hour to poach talent. You have to match it to keep your guys. And because of that, wage pressure in Eastern Iowa shot up a staggering 14% in Q1 alone.
14% in 3 months is just brutal. It's a textbook supply and demand crisis.
And you can't just absorb a 14% wage hike on a fixed price contract negotiated 6 months ago. It's like an engine running out of oil. The capital is the horsepower, but without the local labor force to lubricate the moving parts, the engine seizes up.
That's a great way to put it.
So if you're a local GC in Iowa, how do you even begin to compete with these mega projects for local talent without destroying your profit margins?
Well, you survive by connecting the dots between this labor shortage and those Volvo equipment trends we just mentioned.
Okay, how so?
When human labor gets this expensive, you can't just try to recruit more bodies. You have to substitute capital equipment for scarce labor. Optimize your equipment utilization.
So relying more on the machines.
Yes. Automate material handling, or buy a piece of hybrid equipment that needs less maintenance. Or use a machine that lets one operator do the work of two safely. That offsets the rising cost of the human workforce.
But substituting machines only goes so far, right? Eventually, crews are stretched thin, GCs are forced to scramble and hire brand new untested subs just to fill gaps.
Which brings a whole new level of risk to the job site.
Exactly. And that brings us to the new regulatory and safety hurdles dropping on the industry right now. Specifically, the DOL's new joint employer rule.
Yes, the 2026 compliance update. The margin for error is shrinking just as legal complexity is skyrocketing.
Let's break down how this actually works. Historically, you're insulated. You hire a sub, they manage their own payroll and safety, and you just manage the project delivery. But this new rule radically expands upstream liability.
It redefines when a general contractor is held legally liable as a joint employer for a sub's workforce.
So what triggers that?
Usually, the degree of control the GC exerts. Under this expanded rule, if your sub commits wage and hour violations like misclassifying workers to avoid overtime, that legal liability can flow directly upstream to you, the GC.
Oh, wow.
It also covers benefits obligations and OSHA accountability. A sub's employee gets hurt, you could be jointly liable for that OSHA recordable.
It's exactly like adopting a teenager.
Yep.
You're suddenly legally responsible for someone else's totally unpredictable behavior. If I'm a GC juggling 20 subs, how on earth am I supposed to police their internal payroll and OSHA compliance without bringing the whole building process to a grinding halt?
The logistical burden is massive, but ignorance is no longer a legal defense. You can't just tell a labor board you didn't know your drywall sub was skimming overtime.
So what's the play?
Proactive, systematic auditing. It's your only survival strategy. You have to build mandatory compliance checks into your milestone payment cycles. And Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence report reveals that 43% of mid-sized GCs have at least one subcontract that triggers joint employer exposure under this updated rule.
Wait, 43% are currently exposed.
Almost half. It's a terrifying operational blind spot.
That really is. And the physical safety aspect is just as critical as payroll. Like over in the UK, their Construction Safety Forum just launched an AI pilot program for hand injury prevention.
Which is huge, considering hand injuries are a top 3 construction injury category here in the US too.
Exactly. A tech company called 3E developed the software, and it just won a Safety Innovation Award.
And the mechanics of that 3E technology tie directly back to mitigating that DOL joint employer risk.
Right, because it's using computer vision, correct?
Yes, analyzing live video feeds. The AI recognizes if a worker reaches into a dangerous pinch point without cut-resistant gloves, and it instantly flags it. A foreman can intervene before an amputation happens.
So it's not just futuristic tech. It's a direct mechanism for mitigating upstream liability. You protect their hands, and you protect your business from a catastrophic joint employer claim.
Exactly. It's about deploying technology to regain control over a legally complex job site. But navigating all this, the tech revenue boom, the regional labor bottlenecks, these strict compliance traps, it requires top-tier leadership. You can't wing this.
No, you need deep institutional knowledge and incredibly strong internal coordination. And we're seeing signals that the industry is recognizing this, like Zachary Construction Corporation.
We're a massive U.S. heavy civil contractor.
Right. They just named their new president, Maras. And the fascinating part is he started at the company years ago as an intern.
Which sends a very deliberate signal to the market. We're seeing massive momentum for train-from-within succession planning.
Because an external hire just doesn't have that granular operational context.
Right. You need leaders who intimately understand the company's DNA to handle things like 14% wage hikes or DOL auditing.
It's like a baseball team relying on its farm system instead of buying free agents. Growing your own talent is the ultimate hedge against the labor shortage. Does this signal the old-school external executive search is basically dead in construction?
The industry is definitely recognizing the need for coordinated, experienced leadership. The Construction Industry Roundtable CART just named a new chief to explicitly coach all-star GCs through 2028 on these exact labor, tech, and regulatory issues.
Because no one company can figure this out in a vacuum.
Exactly. It requires shared best practices.
And that need for steady leadership isn't just a U.S. issue. Global stability notes reinforce this. Canada is showing steady construction growth, even rolling out a new business insurance guide for roofing contractors to manage weather and labor risks.
It's a great counterbalance to the volatile U.S. swings.
Yeah.
We're tracking carryover trends like the Middle East glass pass-through, a massive 170% 5-year construction surge in the UK, and high-speed rail down in Australia.
So the whole global sector is flush with capital, but physically and legally constrained.
Precisely.
Well, we've covered a ton of ground today. Let's distill this into actionable takeaways. First, run a joint employer risk audit on your active subcontracts before May 30th. Do not wait for an OSHA violation to find out you're liable.
Second, benchmark your design firm partners against the ENR Top 500. If they're winning AI campus bids, position yourself for that structural work.
Third, read that Volvo CE Q1 report. Calibrate your heavy equipment buying cycle for H2 2026. If backlogs are growing, order your machines now.
And finally, start investigating how to implement AI hand injury controls on your sites to mitigate your upstream liability.
Any final thoughts to leave everyone with?
Yeah, just something to mull over. We talked about AI designing data centers and computer vision monitoring hands to prevent injuries. How long until we see AI directly and autonomously auditing our subcontractors in real time, closing the exact compliance gaps the new DOL rule is targeting?
Oh man, a completely automated real-time forensic audit running in the background. That's a wild thought, but it's probably closer than we think.
Definitely.
So as you build the shovels for today's data center gold rush, make sure you check the oil in your regional labor engine and run that compliance check. If you know a contractor who is dealing with subcontractor compliance or scrambling for local labor, subscriber, send them this episode. It could save them a massive DOL headache or help them recalibrate their margins. Hit follow on whatever app you're listening on so you don't miss tomorrow's intel. And for the tools that power these insights, visit smartbusinessautomator.com